One thing that's really special to me about CPIAC, the Center for Public Interest and Advocacy Collaboration, is the fact that most of my friends are also involved in CPIAC. That's how I met most of my friends. I'm really focused on education. I have friends who are really into housing, other friends that are really into environmental law. And it's like a really cool opportunity for us to like talk about all these different things and the ways that they interact with each other. And I mean, it's also a good group of people who you just want to go get food with sometimes, and who are like really big supports.
Northeastern Law School has consistently been one of the top 3 public interest law schools in the country.
I'm Lucy Williams. I'm a professor at Northeastern University School of Law, and I'm the faculty director of the Center for Public Interest Advocacy and Collaboration. We produce some of the finest public interest lawyers in the country. Our alums are in human rights, in LGBTQ organizations, in the ACLU, in public defender offices. Every major public interest organization in the country and indeed around the world, you'll find NUSL alums. The Center for Public Interest Advocacy and Collaboration is a hub for all of the public interest programs at the law school. We train our students to think outside the box. We know that you can't be a good public interest social justice lawyer if all you know is doctrine. You have to think creatively, you have to think beyond just what is called black letter law.
So typically, I'm one of the weird people who wakes up at 5:45 in the morning. It's almost necessary for me to be able to do all the things that I need to do in a day. I am currently finishing up my second year at Northeastern University School of Law. I was originally born in Maryland. I grew up mostly in North Carolina. Because my dad was in the Navy and my parents emphasized education so much, I did go from school to school to school. I think this is my 11th or 12th school that I've been. I've seen charter schools and magnet schools and public schools and private schools, but because of that I also saw the disparities. I was really became engaged with education law, poverty law. We have like a practice education called our co-op where you basically graduate with a full year of legal experience, not just studying in the books. Also, we have no grades, we have no curve as a point to expressly like try and create that collaborative environment.
Our students work in teams in their first year on social justice projects. They learn team lawyering, which is something that is so critical to doing social justice work. You can't be an individual and do individualistic work if you want to do major cutting-edge social justice work.
I was working directly with Volunteer Lawyers Project in their housing court. So whether it was negotiating with the landlord's attorneys, trying to figure out a way for the individual to be able to keep their housing, which is incredibly important here in Boston where there's such a housing shortage. B, where because housing is limited, it's so expensive. It's given me a whole new perspective on direct legal services that I didn't have when I came to Northeastern.
The first major theme that we decided to take on was the Cradle-to-Prison pipeline. We did our first annual conference in the fall of 2019. We were trying to bring together people not just from the school system or the criminal justice system or the juvenile justice system, which are traditionally the areas that people think of when they talk school-to-prison pipeline. We were thinking cradle-to-prison pipeline, which begins with prenatal care.
We know Black girls are regularly pushed out of school, or disciplined more at school than other racial counterparts. And I saw that right while I was in school, so it was definitely more close to home, I would say, like something that's directly impacting my community. Working with CPIAC on the Cradle-to-Prison pipeline has been really influential in helping develop my mind and my readiness towards those areas of law.
So while we're taking on major issues like the Cradle-to-Prison pipeline or voting rights discrimination, we are also doing events for our students every week. Coffee hours are weekly events where we bring in local advocates and activists to meet with our students and engage with them about the work that they're doing in grassroots organizations in the area. And students worked with a grassroots organization called Green Roots to develop questions around affordable housing for a City Council Candidates Forum. The Center for Public Interest Advocacy and Collaboration is important not only for Northeastern University School of Law, but for the field of social justice law in general. We take on major issues such as the Cradle-to-Prison pipeline and voting rights disenfranchisement, and we are trying to create models that can be used throughout the country. But more importantly, we are working with many public interest, social justice-minded law students to create the next generation of social justice lawyers.